We're going to see a replay right here. Todd's getting into the gas. He gets into it pretty hard right there. Ulysses is not able to get the gas as hard as he is off the corner. He's obviously, his tires are a little more worn out. He's not as fast. And, Todd was expecting him to accelerate off the corner harder than he did. I don't think it was intentional by any means.
And by the way, I love what NASCAR is doing with these European drivers now.
Pretty good.
Take a look and see if we can tell what happened to Gralla. You can see the 40 car of Kyle Benjamin gets loose, collects Gralla and Dylan Bassett in the 44. Let's take one more look, Frank.
Yeah, we need another angle right there to see. Okay, here we are going into the corner. Okay, the 04 of Ronnie Bassett helped Kyle Benjamin a little bit to get loose right there. And then that caused everybody else to get piled up. Dylan Bassett.
Davis moving around in there. Let's take a look at the move, Frank.
And you see right here, Todd Gilliland has drove in so hard, he gives up the bottom of the racetrack. Ronnie Bassett Jr. probably doesn't do a lot wrong right there. I mean, he gets in over his head a little bit, but there is room because of what Todd Gilliland gave him the bottom. You can see he's way up off the bottom of the racetrack right here.
And again, Ronnie Bassett was not going to wave on the opportunity. He put the 04 in there, but boy, that's a hard lick for Spencer Davis. Dad, been around the sport for a long time and trying to get Trey some valuable experience here in the K&N East Series, but that looks to be a little bit of a right front issue.
Yeah, you called it right there, Dave. I think that he knew it was soft going down the back straightaway, and he was trying to get it slowed down, just couldn't get it slowed down enough, and then when it did finally let go, he slid over the banking right there. But it is nice that they don't have the walls in this situation, but I can promise you if somebody ends up going over one of these things at speed, they're going to wish that they either had a wall or it was a little more gradual than what it is.
Well, I know where I grew up watching. See if we can see down the back. There's Cabry on the left. And he gets up, he's on the high side already, and the car goes straight. Oh, man.
Oh, he blew it right front. Looks like the same thing that happened to Trey Hutchins.
Wow, all four tires off.
Let's take another look at it here, Frank.
You can see it. I mean, he's on the bottom. She's not really done anything wrong right there. He goes to get the gas a little bit too early, trying to put a little too much wheel in it. He can't let the car go up the racetrack with her on the outside right there. She did nothing wrong in this situation. He just needed to be a little bit more patient, and the track's just a little slippery.
He saw the opening and thought he could shoehorn the 13 in there. She did a great job defensively of not giving the line away too much. And we also saw this while we were away, Frank.
Yeah, this was just another unfortunate bad luck situation. Here you see the hood fly up on Harrison Burton. There was no contact right there on the racetrack. I didn't understand what happened until I saw the car come down pit road. You can see right here, watch when they flip the hood down. The hood pins are
sting the bottom and the outside grooves today, and this time the outside fighting with Haley. You see the car just broke loose on her.
Yeah, she's on the brake right there. A little bit too much rear brake in the car. She's carrying a little too much speed into the corner and just loses it on her own. Justin Haley didn't do anything wrong on the bottom. It's just unfortunate. She's trying to get all she can late in the race.
It was really hard racing with around 20 laps to go, and it just didn't work out for Dominique here today.
No, it unfortunately did not. And that replay there, it might have looked like they were together, but you saw the first replay. There was air between them. She definitely got in front of you. Let's see here. You can see he's tight up on the back of him, and he's underneath him pretty hard.
Yeah, he is.
It's pretty hard underneath him. And then finishes him off right there for sure.
That's why you stay to the end, folks. It looks like one person
wow.
run off and win the thing.
Well, and the start, no matter what you're thinking behind the leader, is on the leader. And it's up to Kyle to decide when he wants to go. And Bassett was certainly into him before Benjamin decided to go.
Yeah, and when you look at those lines right there on the restart lines out there, it looked to me that was exactly what was going on. Kyle Benjamin didn't want to go yet. But Dylan Bassett said, no, you're going to go, and you're going to go now.
Let's hear from Kyle. Derek's caught up with him. Well, let's see if this gives you an idea. There's definite contact there.
He gives him a little bump getting into the corner. He's got better speed off the corner.
Oh, my gosh, it's so cool.
Here he comes. They're dead even at that point. Contact, I mean, they are absolutely dead even.
From that angle, it looks like Justin Haley is maybe a little bit ahead, but we're getting that angle that's a crooked angle. From the other angle, it would look like Spencer was ahead.
Yeah, and because they're at an angle themselves and they're coming down the racetrack. Wow, man, I'm telling you, by the naked eye, I can't tell.
It looks like the left front of Justin Haley's car and the right front of Spencer Davis's car is what they're going to have to use for a judgment line. And Spencer Davis, they've just announced it. Spencer Davis, Ralph.
Just give me that flag, man.
I'm still not sure. I know they announced it, but I'm still not sure. Well, there it is. From that angle, that's the way you can tell. And it is Spencer Davis.
A little crinkle in the bumper.
Top of your screen, white cars with one black car there. The black car is Ronnie Bassett running behind the white car of Austin Terrio. Looks like there might have been some help. Displayed. Here's a look.
Wow, that's unfortunate. You know, he's on the bottom right there for sure. Does he go up a little bit right there? He's certainly not on the yellow line anymore right there. But the way this racetrack is, because you're carrying so much speed in, it's hard to stay down on that yellow line. So she probably, looking back on it, maybe needed to give him a little bit more room, knowing that he was going to slide up a little bit. It's just, you know, it's somebody battling for the lead.
And Bassett has it now after Van Wieringen had led all those laps. And again, a very promising run.
Up on the 31.
Yeah, going down into turn 1.
Yeah, you see him right there on the outside there, Dave. It was hard. I just looked down there as it was going on, and he got a little sideways. Not sure whether somebody made contact with him first or whether you're really heavy.
The laps are winding down. They want to get as much green flag as they can. Look to the right. Dipple gets into Bays.
Wow, and almost sent Bays into Justin Haley in the 5. That would have taken all 4 H. Scott cars.
My goodness. You see down in the grass go Grant Quinlan and Allie Kern and Dominique Van Wieringen.
This will be an interesting team meeting. You see the 38. I mean, the 1,300 Bays checks up a little bit early possibly, but Tyler Dipple did not use nearly enough brake to slow his car down to avoid that collision.
Overcooked it, and it's a big mess. Now, the previous caution was for Reed Lanford, Derek.
Racing awful aggressive right here.
See what happened to the Rev Racing driver right here, bottom of your screen.
Oh, he gets hooked in the right rear corner. Tyler Dipple hooked him in the right rear corner.
Oh, and he hits driver's side right before that opening there. That's never a good feeling. Here's another look.
And watch him right here. Can't see much right there, but you could see the other replay. It looked, he sat there patiently waiting for the bottom to open up, and he made his move.
There is the 16 into the 44 off of turn number 2, puts the nose of the Toyota down low, and then they get together. There is the opening for Noah Gragson.
Todd Gilliland does to Dylan Bassett what Dylan Bassett had been doing to everybody else all night long on the restarts. He just carried him up into turn 3 and 4, and Noah Gragson made the move on the bottom.
And then Gragson fights off that power move by Dylan Bassett that takes
here, and that was that this track is just really wore out in these Iowa winters, and you're able to go all over the racetrack and use the momentum of the high line to get big runs as they come 3 wide. Oh, they touch
Man, that is not going to work out at all. The number 6 of Cole Rouse just Bush and Chase Elliott are all former winners here at Iowa in the K&N Pro Series. And here's Gragson scraping that wall.
Well, it's exactly what I thought it was. Just you can see all that dirt and debris from the tires up right next to the wall. He got a little too high trying to push that lane up, which you'll do as a driver. Sometimes there's just a little more grip the higher you go, closer to those marbles. And if you can force those marbles out as all the cars move up the racetrack, you can just continually find more grip where there isn't rubber. But eventually, sometimes you get a little too...
Course that you're supposed to. Here you're supposed to go through this little S turn, if you will. You can
see Adam getting out of shape there.
You see him getting out of shape. He actually ends up going through kind of like he's supposed to. I mean, he goes through the grass a little bit, but he gets back onto the asphalt over here on the left side of the screen. These other drivers on the right-hand side, they're going straight through. So they're actually picking up time right there. So what NASCAR says in the drivers' meeting is if you, for some reason, have to blow the bus stop.
See what happened to Allie again as we take another look.
Yeah, it's a little late to say. She got down in the corner, more than likely a little too hot. Locked up the rear brakes, got a little bit loose in the back. And I want to say about the braking issue, you see it more in turn.
Sent back around. Let's see what happened. Top of your screen. Looks like he was racing there with Noah Gragson, and you can't go too wide through there very comfortably.
No, and it looks to me like he just got in there. They're a mile away. So if they get going and they get fired up, there's nobody behind them right here. NASCAR is watching the situation. As long as they get fired up and get going, we'll stay green.
You saw Shuddy is racing Cabry right here. Cabry puts the nose of the 2 inside. They get too wide, maybe a little bit of contact there, and then Shuddy gets into Holloman and they spin.
Yeah, it looks like Shuddy was actually getting moved up the racetrack just a little bit there, and I think he didn't expect Holloman to be going quite that slow, but he had opened.
Here's a good look at it. You see it locked up early there, or smokes something right there, and then I wonder if he just loops that on purpose.
Dave, I don't know what happened right there, but the left rear tire was not under braking, so it's not like it's a wheel hop issue. It's almost like maybe something in the transmission.
Maybe had no brakes.
Or had no brakes.
Yeah.
Didn't appear. Hard to say.
Right
really
there.
close.
Yep, it is very, very tight there. Spinning into turn 3 as they were trying to complete the first lap. In fact, they didn't even. And if you look top of your screen there, Frank, you are correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a slight little bit right there. But, I mean, as you said, Tyler Dipple had been.
Let's see if we can see. We zoom in there. That looks like there's another car involved, Frank.
Yeah, it's hard to see right there, Dave. And I just looked up when you called the caution and saw somebody else there. He was up.
When you're the first car, you can maybe even run over something here as we seem to have a replay.
Oh, straight up he goes.
Definitely a right front issue there. So one thing we talked about at the beginning is how brutal this racetrack is on tires, especially when there isn't rubber to start. And that's where you have to really...
As we take another look at this, right out of turn 4, straight up to the wall. You called it.
Oh, very hard hit. And that's thankfully Dover has put that safer barrier there out of the turn that wasn't there earlier this year. They extended it, and that's one thing that really helped him have a lot softer hit there, because that's the worst place. You're in the throttle, fully in the throttle at that time, coming out of the corner, and to have the right front fail on you, it's a very helpless feeling. This week, thinking that they could have a similar run, but right now it looks like Kyle Benjamin way out in front as we go off in turn 1 here. Colin Cabry in second. As you see, oh, yeah, right there. That's where that right front goes down, goes in a hard hit in the wall. Perfectly set up, or the car's a little bit tight, you can abuse that right front too much.
We see him over to the right of the screen. He'll be already up. It was actually in turn 3 where he caught the wall and then just glanced back into it off of turn 4. But we said, Parker, there's a number of reasons why this can happen. You can run over something. Extreme tuning can be an issue there. Or even some of the suspension parts at these high angles and aggressive setups can get. What happened here at the end, this is what brought the caution out at the end.
Yeah, you're going to see Ruben Garcia just gets into the left rear as he's trying to make a move on Eddie McDonald. Eddie McDonald gets forced up the racetrack, hits the outside wall. Alec Kern comes up on him, gets moved to the inside, and Chad Fincham had nowhere to go there as Alec Kern came down the racetrack in front of him. Just one of those instances where there was a lot of cars going for the same real estate and a bit of a checkup off of turn 4 where they're all trying to stay hard on the gas to get the best finish possible.
Garcia trying to move through on that low line. Man, McDonald takes a flush hit right there. Thanks again for that safer barrier that was added. Looks like Kern was just trying to avoid, really, Parker.
Yeah, and that can happen as you're coming down the racetrack there and coming off turn 4, the car is really light, and as she tried to turn really hard down the racetrack, the car just got away from her.